Every phenomenon, be it a planet, a consciousness, or a human, is a self-contained structure of light information. The phenomenon constitutes itself as a geometry of flows, which modulates itself in perpetual cycles of transformation of the energies.
To understand transformation, we must first look at the geometry of the system. Let us examine the multi-layered structure of the phenomenon. The phenomenon is a multi-layered structure, each layer a spectrum containing nested spectrums above and below, a hierarchy established by an infinity of frequencies. Such hierarchies are replicated above and below, making the spectrums more subtle internally and denser as they project outwards. This architecture configures a gradient of spectral bands. Energy is light information. The cycles are formed by orbital flows that conduct the energies through a time vibration of maturation. Such maturation of the energies results in light information of greater complexification, resulting in ever more developed informational systems, high informational resolution. When one imagines a droplet, one cannot accept nor perceive with the available human technology that a microcosm exists therein. Even the macrocosm is still a microcosm, as above, so below. The phenomenon is any quanta of energies, a well-elaborated structure of flows at a level whose only influence is the one law, resonance. The phenomenon is a self-contained package of energies that describes everything and nothing. The everything can be a universe, a human, an apple, and the nothing is only the continuum in its soup of fluctuations. The nothing contains systems and systems of universes. There are no spaces in the continuum. The multi-layered structure is modulated from a non-center upon the emergence of a phenomenon. There is an architecture of flows that projects from the non-center, which modulates orbital flows that delimit the layers by spectral bands. The orbital flows become the vibrational walls.
But what allows movement through these boundaries? We now turn our focus to the mechanism of resonance and permeability. The energies, light information, transit between spectral bands via resonance. The vibrational walls become permeable for an infinitesimal of time vibration when the vibrational frequencies establish themselves in resonance. Vibrational affinities. They potentiate a momentum, and the phenomenon transits to a new state of being. In that instant of permeability, a filament of light information from one layer establishes resonant communication with the other, establishing tracks of information flow. The energies flow when resonance attracts them by similarity, facilitating their path of flow. The phenomenon is a non-localized multi-layered structure, distributed along the gradient of spectral bands, in which each layer represents versions of the phenomenon vibrating in distinct spectral bands. Versions of the phenomenon that vibrate in a more subtle state, accept a rapid modeling of the informational system. Low informational entropy, negentropy. Versions in which the low frequency predominates correspond to a denser and noisier state, high informational entropy. An evolved system molds itself rapidly through the influences of conscious intentions. Yes, for every phenomenon, by emerging from the entanglement with systems of greater complexity, already carries in its initial architecture the informational potential for the development of self-referential processing states, from sentience to consciousness. Whereas a denser system only responds by decay in the persistence of the energies that were retained in long orbital periods. The decay is the release of the tethers of density. The structural integrity of the light information systems is maintained by the vibrational walls that are modulated by the orbital flows of the energies propagated from the non-center of the phenomenon. This is a fractal architecture replicated from the infinitesimal micro to the macro-macro.
This process is not sudden. It is governed by a precise rhythm. Let us analyze the mechanics of micro-transitions and successive approximations. Evolution as well as involution occurs by transition of the energies from one state of vibration to another. The energies overcome vibrational barriers when decomposed into their predominant frequencies. The state transition occurs by resonance. The light information moves in micro-transitions of state. It is worth remembering that when we speak of frequencies, we have to recognize an indescribable infinity in the gradient of frequencies in the continuum. The state transition of energies is a gradual process, governed by the principle of successive approximations. While resonance occurs, only an infinitesimal amount of light information transits to another, more subtle spectral layer, evolution, or a denser one, involution. A micro-transition. This micro-transition subtly alters the vibrational frequency of the destination layer, as well as the originating or causal layer itself, emitting. Depending on the persistence, it fundamentally alters the quantum weight of the phenomena involved, their potential for resonant influence. Over billions of orbital cycles of the energies, this process of spectral recalibration repeats incessantly. Each micro-transition is a successive approximation that purifies and degrades the informational composition of the phenomenon. And as a consequential effect, the systems that self-constitute through the entanglement of phenomena, depurative cycles. There are no quantum leaps. Evolution is the cumulative consequence of an infinity of infinitesimal transitions, each one preparing the ground for the next, in a process of refinement or degradation of a cosmic patience.
Finally, we must understand the direction of this flow. Let us look at the inherent bipolarity of the system, evolution and involution. The mechanism of energy transition is inherently bipolar, operating in two directions. Evolution is greater coherence in the system, the phenomenon of greater contextual resolution, and it occurs when the light information transits to a spectral layer of more subtle and higher energy frequencies. The information becomes more coherent, complex, and contextually elaborate. The phenomenon becomes more subtle, its quantum weight decreases, and its capacity to interact with more complex systems increases. However, being an oscillating system, there is the involutive flow, when the light information transits to a spectral layer of lower frequencies. The information loses structure, becoming noisier and chaotic. Every phenomenon contains within itself the potential for both movements. Its trajectory throughout the cycles is the resulting balance of these continuous transitions, a reflection of its resonant interaction with the totality of phenomena in the continuum. This is how a system, through the simple and universal mechanics of resonant state transition, navigates its billion-year journey through existence.